think everybody came away with like, you know how you don't get another head coaching interview is give him 35 points to the Lions. I mean, what in the world? It was mind blowing. Like, you wanted to be good? That's not a good resume builder right there for you, guy.
Everybody, sports take on this Friday. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis. We are joined by our next guest. You can see her virtually in a million different roles almost every night on NBC Sports Philadelphia. You can follow her on Twitter as well at Amy Fadool NBCS. And Aim, a little birdie told me that there may have been an anniversary recently. That's just what my sources are telling me. I don't know how true it is. Is that correct?
That is correct. 10 years. 10 years the other day.
Happy anniversary to you and our guy Sean. We're happy for you.
10 years.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's the wedding that Derek Gunn refused to go to, even though
that is not true. Why do you keep telling this lie? I did not refuse to go to it.
Exactly.
Were you grilling that day? You had too much going on the deck or something?
No.
Michelle gave him the day off, and he said, "No, I want to work."
Yep. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Amy, we used to be family until this moment.
Oh my goodness! See, that's what. See, I'm glad she's giving you the slack, man. I'm glad
it's about time somebody else beat up on you for a little while.
To be honest, I never got an invitation. To be quite honest.
Oh, geez.
Incorrect, because I got a really nice RSVP from Trish. So.
Look at that look.
Good.
Hold up, somebody's at the doorbell. I'll be back.
Your signal's breaking up, Derek.
Yeah, can't hear you anymore.
My God! All right, let me save him, Amy. All right, from himself, actually.
Wow.
So, look, we're going to jump all over the place, but I do want to start with the Phillies. Here, because we're on the cusp of a team probably winning 91 games here, somewhere in that neighborhood, and I know we are in the midst now of Eagles hysteria to an extent, but it feels a little underplayed to me. And maybe, Aim, and I'll ask you this. This is where I'll start. Is some of it because they haven't been playing great teams, which changes tonight? But is that something to do with it, you think?
I do. I just think it's one of those things where, the good news is when they've played these bottom feeders, these teams that are below them in the standings, they don't win those games. They haven't beaten the Marlins. It's the first time they've ever won 5 straight series from the Marlins, ever. So you're looking at winning records in the division. They have a better than 62% winning percentage in the NFC East. Now you throw out the Mets, that number goes way up. Obviously they haven't played well against them, but they have played well against everybody else. So that could be. It also could be that they're, with Bryce Harper going down, there was a lot of guys stepping up, but it wasn't household names. You got to know them. You got to know the Matt Vierlings and Bryson Stotts and, Stubbs and guys like that. Yeah. Maton, Sosa, but it didn't have the star power. Kyle Schwarber he was the only guy carrying this team in June. I mean, let's face it, without his June and July, this team would have been left for dead. And then now you see Real Muto obviously is caught back up. So I think that has something to do with it. And, obviously that everybody looks down like, oh, they beat the Marlins. Oh, they beat the Pirates. The good news is you're saying that as opposed to in years past. Ricky Bowe and I were talking last night. The year that they were in, it was the shortened season from the pandemic. All they had to do was win one of their last 5. And they lost all of them, including the final series against the Marlins. It was incredible. Yep. You just beat one of these teams, and 3 of them were against the Marlins. So it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of the lack of star power consistently, I think. But yeah, I mean, the funny thing is you look at some of the ratings, and on an Eagles Sunday, I'm thinking, I did the show, of course, and I was like, they did. Because one, it was a rain delay, but 2, people just watch. They just always have it on. And the interest is there. And obviously I think it's going to be, incredible. I hope that there is at least a home playoff game. I mean, the way that the season ends, because they have to make up that series against the Astros that was, bagged because of the whole collective bargaining agreement, they finish on the road a dozen games. So they're not going to be here. And then, of course, they would go on the road because they would be the wild card team. So they wouldn't be here for, what's it, 2.5 weeks almost.
It's a long
so
stretch.
You're hoping.
Yeah,
you're hoping they get to the NLDS and then they can get a home game for this crowd, because it would be awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Amy, how concerned are you about the inconsistencies in this pitching staff? I mean, Falter is basically being the most consistent pitcher.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the relievers, even Robertson, who was lights out when he initially got here, now has been up and down. you don't know what you're going to get from this staff, especially against the better teams now.
Yeah, they were really taxed in that road series, against the Giants, against the Diamondbacks, and then they came back, and then you had guys that were starters barely able to make it out of the fifth inning, so they really got added on to, and then they had that crazy rain delay, so they had to pitch all in that. I mean, there's certain guys that the good news is Eflin is back. You're hoping that he would be a guy that could get you some of those innings that you need to eat. If your starter can't go past the fifth or sixth, he can eat up the sixth, seventh, and maybe even into the eighth, because obviously he is a starter. He's not going to be in that starting rotation. He's just not prepared for that. He's not, elongated in his routine, but he's a nice arm. But yeah, I mean, Derek, there's definitely some concern. The bullpen started off so rocky. And it was just kind of one of those, like, of course the bullpen is bad again. And then they became really good. Like, it was, 17 straight scoreless innings, 42 innings with only, just above a 1-run earned average. So you're thinking that was good. And then the wheels kind of started to come off with Robertson, with Brad Hand, with Brogdon. You're thinking, oh, gosh, is this the same story? So now it's a fight to the finish. It's just about staying as healthy as possible, trying to use them as least as possible. But there is a concern because the starters are, Zach Wheeler, hopefully he's back on, we'll see. Tuesday would be his next scheduled start. It looks like he's going to make it. And then number 2, Aaron Nola. Okay, so you're feeling okay about that. And then the number 3 is like Bailey Falter right now. Think about it. This was August 1st, and you told me Bailey Falter would have been one of your key starters as you head to the playoffs. That would have been like, well, give me some of whatever it is that you're having, because that's insane. But it's true. It's insane. There's no way you would have thought Bailey Falter is going to be your guy in late September. So, yeah, there is a concern. I think Ranger Suarez has shown that he can be relied upon. But his problem is, making it out of the sixth inning. His wheels kind of start to get a little bit rusty in that fifth or sixth. So then it's like, uh-oh. But the good news is that having Eflin back, I think, definitely shores up any question marks you would have in that. But yeah, Noah Syndergaard, unless he has an unbelievable game, he's out. Like he's done for me. Like you can't rely on that guy late September. And then so you're looking at like, okay, Gibson, he's been okay. But are we looking at okay? Is that what we're doing? We're doing just okay now? We can't be just okay, you know?
Well, let me ask you this then. My glass is always half full. I'm always taking a positive look at everything. And I'm looking at the bottom of that lineup. You got Brandon Marsh, you got Stotts, all these guys playing above and beyond what I thought they were going to play. But, we're starting to get other guys starting to come back, with the Schwarber and all these guys. They kind of took like a little 2-week break, but now they're starting to come back. Am I just looking at it, with rose-colored glasses that, all right, they're going to be good when it counts, when the playoffs are here. So don't worry about them, because the back of my lineup are learning how to be good, which will make them good going into the playoffs along with Bryson, and all those guys playing at a high level. Am I being too?
No, I don't think you're being too optimistic or too, rosy on it. The thing is, the one thing that we learned when this team, was taken over by Rob Thompson is that everybody likes to know their role. And when they're in their role, they do better. The bullpen knew exactly who was coming in. There was none of this, it's closer by committee. It's not a closer by committee. There was one closer, Sir Anthony, and we were good. Obviously, he got injured, but now he's on his way back to getting back to that form. But everybody knew I'm the 3-hole hitter. I'm the 2-hole hitter. I'm the 4. I'm the whatever. That's good. Casey Feeney, one of our producers, has a great stat last night. So Hoskins went out. Hopefully he's back in a day or two. They moved up Gene Segura. And anytime he bats 1 through 4, he's batting 168. If he's batting his usual 5 through 8, lower part of the lineup, like you're talking about, B, he bats almost double. 324. It's mind-blowing. So that just goes to show that when the guys are in their role, when the guys are at the back of the bottom of the lineup, they know their role. They know they have to pick up the slack. And I think the one thing that was really good is that when Kyle Schwarber scuffled and when Rhys Hoskins goes on one of his dips, because we all know he's streaky, and then obviously when Bryce Harper was out, all those guys were so relied upon, and they knew I had to step up. And so that's something they can draw from, I think, in late September. The Garrett Stubbs, the Bryson Stotts, the Nick Matons, the Matt Vierlings, even a guy like Derek Hall when he gets the call back up. You know, I thought maybe he would get the call back up if Rhys Hoskins had to miss any time, just because he was a reliable bat for them,
Yeah,
obviously.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see, but I don't think it's too optimistic to say that those guys are going to be able to pick up where they know they can. I mean, Bryce Harper knows what he can do. I think when he was bad, they batted him fourth the other day, and he was just like, it wasn't good for his mojo. He didn't do well. They bat him the next night, third, he hits a home run. You're like, okay, well, let's stop with the experimenting in the lineup.
Right.
Pick everybody where they're supposed to go.
Schwarber, get back at number one.
Exactly. Like,
You're the
I get it.
leadoff.
He's not a traditional leadoff, but he hits from there, so who cares, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, look, the other part of this is that I think we've sort of just almost taken it for granted a little bit, but 58 and 34 under Thompson, 22 and 29 under Girardi. That's one of the all-time flips on a season with a managerial change I could ever remember. I don't know about historically or anything. I didn't dig it up, but that is unreal what they've done under him.
I mean, it was to the point where if he wasn't in the manager of the year conversation, you were wondering why the conversation was being had. I get Buck Showalter. I get, obviously, but you look at what the Mets have and you're thinking, yeah, that's good. They had some injuries, but they have two of the best pitchers in all of baseball. They have Pete Alonso. I mean, they have some really good talent. This guy not only took over a team that was completely just treading water and they could barely keep their head above it, and then their star MVP goes down. Their starting pitchers start dropping like flies, and he still managed to be above 500 at the All-Star break. And then now you're looking at it. He just kept building. 15 games over 500, 16 games over 500. I mean, we're in unprecedented territory, to your point about, 17, 18 games over. We haven't been there. Barrett, you were still like playing football the last time we talked about this. Okay?
Leather helmet. That was leather helmet era. Yeah.
It was. You might have been at K-State. I'm not really sure, but it was a long time ago. So yeah, I think that it's gone a little bit under the radar. Maybe it is because of who they played. I'm not really sure, but if I'm on the national stage and I'm seeing somebody that's taken a team and turned them around 30 plus wins over 500 compared to where they were, I mean, they would have finished maybe right at 500 under once again. And now you're looking, 18 games over 500, 17 wherever they finish. I mean, it's a 30 game swing in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, Amy, any concerns whatsoever? Schwarber's not hitting home runs with the frequency that we had grown accustomed to seeing him, and basically Harper's still not where we want to see Harper at the plate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at this point in the season, everybody's a little bit banged up. Obviously, Bryce is still kind of getting back there. I think Schwarber has been banged up. We've seen him kind of get some of the days off here and there. So I think that's the one thing that's been hurt about having Bryce Harper not be able to play in your right field, is that the DH, which was such a gift to the Phillies this year, kind of got wiped out because there's only one DH, and it's Bryce Harper. You're obviously going to have him in the lineup. You're not going to sit him. So I think that's been a little bit, because there have been some great times to give Kyle Schwarber a spell and have him as your DH, but you can't do it now that Harper's back. So there is a little bit of concern, but I think we've seen Schwarber be able to hit singles and doubles. I think the expectation is that he hits the bombs, because he can't. I mean, geez, he can hit like 400 feeters, not even like bat an eye. But there is a little bit. I was also really buoyed that you look at a guy like Brandon Marsh last night. I mean, here's a guy in that Marlins series really came to play, because that offense was terrible if you think about it. And the entire Marlins series, it was just not very good. And he came to hit every single, and they had tweaked it. Kyle Long, the hitting coach, had said, listen, we are going to do some things with the swing. And maybe now you're seeing the results of it. Timing is perfect, because you have a guy in Kyle Schwarber where, 1 for 4 is fine if the one is a home run. But if it's a single and then no one's batting behind him, it's like, well, what was the point of that? So you really need to get a little bit more production out of the top of that lineup. But you have a guy like Brandon Marsh that if you do have someone on, he can come through. So there is some concern, but I think they're going to, hopefully they can clinch somewhat early. I mean, maybe the last series early, so you can get some of those guys a little bit of extra rest, because the season ends and then all of a sudden you have one day and then you travel and then boom, the playoffs start. I mean, there is no rest for the weary. It's not like the NBA where you get like a week off or something crazy.
Yeah.
4 or 5 nights off between games.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's go to the Eagles, and unfortunately, Amy's got to put up with Barrett on Bird's Huddle sometimes. But we won't really get into that.
I was going to say I'm praying for you, but after you dime me out at the top of the second, I can't do that. So.
We're working today.
Yeah,
see, look,
shots are being fired all along.
But I'll tell you, there's one thing.
This is every day.
Yeah, there's one thing that me and Amy don't we don't agree upon. We just don't like it now.
You
She
need
always
to
tries
read the
to make me.
prompter.
No, I
You're
just
really
don't
good
do it.
at
I
it.
don't read prompter, and
You
she
do.
Amy,
always
don't lie for him, Amy. Don't lie for him.
I've seen him do it. He did it the other day. He and Jason Avant did a segment themselves, and that side of the studio is reserved for the host, which is why that's where Barrett stands. He's the host of the show. We're just there to kind of, move it along to commercial break.
Set him up, yeah.
And exactly. So as the host, he had to introduce Jason Avant with a question, and it was on the teleprompter, and he read it as if he had been reading prompter for years. And I said, "See," and
he forces me to, bro. She forces me to.
The pro,
yeah, I tell you, he is a pro.
He forces. It's right. Forced, and I keep telling her no, but she forces the issue. She's always like, "Well, you can just have Barrett will do it. Just have him do it."
That's right.
I'm like, Amy, don't know. No,
Amy, it's the only way he's going to learn, right?
Amy knows what's best, Barrett. Okay, let's just leave it.
Just trying to help.
Yes. So, Abe, little football here. I want to start with this. Let's go right into it. Gannon. He's taking a lot of heat. I think people wanted to pounce on him to begin with before the season even started, and then Sunday didn't do anything to dispel that. They didn't show up. The offense saved their bacon on Sunday. This is going to be another challenge because this team throws a heck of a lot more weapons at you than Detroit did. What's your feeling going into this one?
Not good. I mean, 35 points. That and yikes. I think everybody came away with like, how you don't get another head coaching interview is give them 35 points to the Lions. I mean, what in the world? It was mind blowing. Like, you wanted to be good. That's not a good resume builder right there for you, guy. No, I mean, they said it themselves and they're saying all the right things. They know how explosive Justin Jefferson is, Dalvin Cook. I mean, this is a really high powered offense. And I know it's Kirk Cousins, and say what you will. He's a game manager and he manages the game because he has got some of the most incredible athletes to even play on the field right now. So he can throw it. He's got a good, accurate arm. Is it the strongest arm in the league? No. But the thing is, they're going to have to, and I heard you guys talking right before I came on, it was Gardner Johnson. Wow. I mean, it was also not a resume builder tape for him. And Barrett, he had said it as soon as they signed him. Like, he's in the wrong position. They need to switch him and Maddox. I think that was pretty obvious. They also need to have a little bit more bracket coverage because we all know what DeAndre Swift can do, but there was too many people when they would come over the top, and you're thinking, is this like some kind of prevent defense? You have 15-yard cushion, and I'm like, where's the guy? There he is.
You can't see him on
film.
You
have to zoom all the way out. I'm like, there he is. What a weird coverage over the top for whatever, like a dump pass or an over the middle. So I am a little concerned just because we know what the Vikings can do. The good news is it's obviously at home. I think that does help the Eagles. Monday Night Football. The guys having tape now does help. That first game out of the gates, Barrett can obviously speak to this, is always, I think, a little bit rough. It's always rough on the kickers. You see that. There were so many kicks that were missed. You see a lot of turnovers because it's just – and I think it's also a product, and I know the Eagles coaches blew it off as other coaches. No live hitting, I think, in training camp. It's just a real problem, and you see that. So the good news is maybe they got their stinker out of the way. But no, I mean, I don't have a good feeling at all. I mean, if you put up 35 points on the Eagles defense and you're the Lions, what are the Vikings going to do? I mean, 45, 55? Yeah, it's definitely concerning. I mean, the good news is they saw it and they can at least look at tape to see where they can kind of shore that up. But, I mean, some of the coverage was just really questionable.
Mm-hmm. That's because the pass rush was questionable,
Yeah, well, there wasn't any.
Right.
Or the lack thereof, yeah.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
So we, it's not. Well, let me ask you this: does Fletcher have enough? Does Hargrave have enough?
Yeah.
Those two in the inside, they're going to dictate how good this defense is going to be, along with Davis when they allow him to play.
I was going to say that was a big question. You're thinking, well, if you're seeing your team struggle this much, especially on that front four, why wouldn't you just put in Jordan Davis? I mean,
a freak of nature.
His physical body alone will stop something. Sit on DeAndre Swift and just
stay right there. I know they're not
there.
running by there. Just
exactly.
Stay right there.
You'll just be our block of wall here, and then we'll get everybody else this way. So yeah, I mean, Fletcher Cox, obviously expectations for him are always high. We know who he is. Is he that guy anymore? No, he's not. Can he still be good? Yeah, of course he can. But I think that Sunday was a bit of an eye-opener on how much maybe we should expect of him. Do we really expect him to be maybe not at a Pro Bowl level, but even at like a semi Pro Bowler level,
effective.
like half of where it was really jarring to me when you watch like a specific plays where, and they talked about it, obviously you guys did on all of your post-game shows, of just how much he was pushed right up front. And you're thinking that O-line was okay for the Lions. Right. They're not, the worst I've ever seen, but they aren't the best. And he was getting beat. I mean, you saw him falling down, you saw him getting swim moved like right past, and all of a sudden he's gone this way when the quarterback is over here or the running back. And so there really wasn't any pass rush. I felt like there was no defensive pressure. So yeah, I mean, I would hope that they would have a real, come to Jesus type of meeting in that defensive line room and be like, listen, like, you guys are getting your asses beat. And it wasn't even that good of a line. Wait until you go against a good line. And the Vikings do have a good line. I mean, there are good lines out there. The Lions they're an okay line, but they absolutely, there was a couple, like, he just literally just like put his arm up, and next thing you know, Fletcher is like pushed off like 6 yards. I'm like, who is Fletcher Cox getting pushed off for 6 yards when the play is this way? And he's, was pushed so hard he's gone the other way. It was really, that was eye-opening to me. I didn't expect that. I didn't think he was going to be as good as he has been, but I didn't think he was going to be that far off.
Hey, Amy, give us your perspective on Jalen Hurts having to run the ball 17 times in a game. I mean, he was running for his life on most of them. A few were called run design plays, but for the most part, this man's running for his life. Yeah,
it was definitely. I remember we were sat there. It was like right after the first quarter, and I'm thinking, do you really want him at like, what was it, 50-something yards rushing, and then it was like 60-something yards by halftime? Is that what you're looking for? You're looking for, and they had said they weren't. We're not looking for this guy to do that. So it was. I mean, I understand there's one or two that may have been design play runs, like a DPO. I don't even think it was like DPO. It was like almost like he just would like tuck it because he's like, my first option is not there, then I'm just going to go. So I'm not sure what the thought process was. How much was him just being like, I got to get out of here because, and then when he didn't, because you could tell it was definitely a point of interest at halftime. And then when he didn't, then he's falling all over the place because he's getting, touched, or as soon as he passes the ball, he's down and sacked, or rushed out of the pocket. And now he's having to run to the sideline so he doesn't get
running for his life.
So,
that's what he was, running for his life. Yes, it was. And there was another thing.
This offensive line, best in football, number one in football, and you're thinking, okay, give the kid longer than a second. Yes. So I think that there's his decision making does have to be a little bit faster. I don't know how quickly he can go through his progressions before his mind is like, I just got to get out of here. And that's such a fine line. You've seen that before. And Barrett knows I've talked about this. Ben Roethlisberger used to drive me insane because he would hold on the ball forever because that guy got old and he couldn't run anymore. But he could walk the line of, I'm going to hold on to it until there's a guy like right here so I can at least plant my feet and just throw something. He probably held on it too long, which is why his ankle, I think, got rolled up on every season. I feel like the guy had a high ankle sprain every season. But Jalen Hurts needs to watch some of the guys that do have a quicker progression read. There are
Brady,
old and new, obviously Tom Brady. But you look at Eli Manning; he was always very good with the quick progressions. Tom Brady gets the ball out so fast, but you got to have that trust level. And you're thinking in his mind, I don't know this, but is Jalen thinking if it's not there for AJ, am I just dumping out? Is that what it was? Is that why Devontae didn't have any catches? Is that why there wasn't many targets for the other receivers like Pascal and Quez Watkins? Is it like my number one is this? I can't. There's a guy right here. I got to dump and run. So to me, that was very concerning. And you could tell that's something they talked about at halftime because he didn't do it as much as far as run. And then he just had to run away because there was people chasing him because there was no protection.
All right. And lastly, Sixers. We're close here. Believe it or not,
I know.
We're close to them reporting to the Citadel, not for service, but for a training camp.
Yeah.
They've made some moves in the offseason. It's been an interesting one. It's never dull with them, that's for sure. But I guess the question I have is, your sense right now as we go into this, have they improved themselves where they're in the conversation and or better than Miami, Milwaukee, Boston, et cetera, the big boys in the East?
Yeah. They've improved themselves more than all of those teams. No. I think they're better than the Heat right now. I think the Heat had shown that in the playoffs, that's a very mentally tough, physically aggressive team. Yeah. They play, stout defense. Obviously, we all know about the zone, but they had those dogs. They had PJ Tucker. He was that dog mentality. They have Kyle Lowry. Those guys do the little things. Sixers, we knew that. We knew that 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They didn't have that guy. It's long. You have to go back a long time till you have that guy that does every little thing for you. Doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but does those little things. So I think they did get better than the Heat. The thing is, everybody else got good too. I mean, the Bucks didn't get worse. Middleton's back. Mm-hmm. The Celtics didn't get worse. And then you have other teams that you still have the Nets. That's a giant question mark. I think that's an entire train wreck up there. Yeah, but if it ever does come together, like, watch out. But
we still got our secret weapon up there.
Yeah, they're probably only coming together for like 50 games. So I don't think you have to worry about it too much. But yeah, I mean, they had one of the best players in the history of basketball on the team. So even if he rolls out of bed and walks onto the court, they're always in the game. The Heat obviously are still in the conversation, but the Cavaliers.
Oh, we're losing. Aim, if you can hear us.
Oh, man, I have one more question for her. I have one more question.
We lost Amy. Oh, man. All right. That was great. Maybe Xander's working on getting her back. We'll see. But that was there we got you back, Aim. We lost you sort of in like mid thought right
weird.
there.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I got a call. I'm on silent. But yeah, so I was just gonna say that the Cavaliers got a lot better. I think the Pistons are a good team. The Hawks are a good team. So the East has definitely come up, and it's not just the top like it has been. It's everybody. So I think they're good. I think Montrezl Harrell was a good pickup. It pains me to say that, given where he went to college, but he is a very nice pickup for this team. So that's why we couldn't have Montrezl Harrell and Donovan Mitchell. That would have just been too much for me.
Yeah,
too much.
You can't.
Right,
too much.
Last one, Gunner.
Yeah, Amy, I got a quick question for you. I noticed behind you have a trap door there, similar to Rob Ellis's, but Rob hit his with the banner, the 2008 banner you see there.
Yeah.
Is that Amy's hiding place to get away from husband Sean and the kids and a dog named John? I still can't get over that one. When they get
John
on your nerves.
I didn't say it this time. He still made an appearance.
When the family gets on your nerves, is that Amy's hiding place?
No, Amy's hiding place is in the wine fridge. That's for Baker. That's for Baker. Baker's small enough to fit in there. Amy's wine fridge is just around the corner. I close that door to the laundry room and say, I'll be back.
We want a tour next time, Amy. Next time you're on.
I'll take you in the little leprechaun door if you want.
Amy, during this segment, somebody said, how much would you pay to see if Barrett could fit through that trap door? Is that trap door big enough for Barrett to fit through?
Well, the thing is, it actually goes up quite a ways.
Does it?
I mean, no, Barrett couldn't fit, but I want to see now.
Yeah, now we need to make this happen.
I got $100.
We're doing Monday show from Amy's house with Barrett trying to get on that door. It's gonna happen.
I can probably get in, but it's getting out to be the problem.
Yeah. We'll spray you down with Crisco and canola.
You'd have to knock the wall out.
Shove you in there.
Foundational issues
No
in
way
the
I'm
house.
not trying that.
Yeah.
Definitely trying that.
All right, tonight you guys have Birds Huddle, correct? What time?
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, NBC Sports Philadelphia, 6 to 6:30 we're on. And then it re-airs after Phillies post-game live, hopefully after a win down in Atlanta with Max Fried going against the Rangers Suarez.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, appreciate it. Great catching up with you.
Good seeing you again.
Always good seeing you guys. Thanks.
Have a good one.
Take care. That is Amy Fadool. Good stuff there from Amy. All right, let's get a quickie here. We come back. Our guy, Eddie Barkowitz, Eddie B, will be running through some of the games that we like this weekend. Some movement here in the NFC East with some odds. A lot to dip into with Eddie. Don't go anywhere. Derek, Barrett, Rob, let's talk a little Flynn Tree Services, people. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So, do you have any type of tree issues in your property, on your property or in your yard? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away. They are experts at trimming all types of trees, and they serve southeastern PA, South Jersey, northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Keep in mind, we got storm season, amongst us. It's a good time to have your trees evaluated. Make sure that they are good to go, not older, not kind of dead. They may go into your neighbor's place, whatever. You want to get that taken care of. You go to their Facebook page or Instagram for more and get a sample of their work there as well. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.